Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Illustration Department podcast. My name is Giuseppe Castellano. In this podcast, I talk to folks in illustration, graphic design, publishing, animation, and other creative fields about their work, the lessons they've learned, and the bumps and bruises they've experienced along the way. In this episode, my guest is illustrator and storyteller Fahmida Azim. Illustration is a misunderstood field, as Fahmida points out. For that reason, illustrators don't always receive encouragement or validation, especially from those closest to them. Among other topics, Fahmida and I talk about where and how illustrators can find validation. We discuss why a creative's self-worth should not come from their work. And Fahmida explains what illustration really is. I hope you enjoy our conversation. Half a mug or half a carafe, I don't even know what they're called, of coffee is probably not what the doctor ordered. Coffee is one of those things that just brings my anxiety levels a little bit down, oddly enough.
Okay. Yeah. You need a stimulant to get your anxiety down.
It's the warm mug, it's the thing I'm sure I'm going to like. There's no uncertainty about
there's
coffee.
Also something about the ritual, I think. I know when I make my cup of black tea, since it's a thing I do like every morning, it gets me in the mindset of getting into my day.
Yeah. It's absolutely part of the morning. I set it up at night, so when I wake up in the morning, all I need to do is pour the coffee in the mug. I sit down before everyone else wakes up. I get to do some work and drink my coffee and then start the day. Yeah, it's ritual. Good word.
Yeah. I think ritual is a big part of getting into the mindset that you need to. Like, there are times when I'll make my cup of caffeine and then I'll get to work and I'll completely forget to actually drink it. But making it got me to the point where I get to work.
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. Your name pronunciation, is it Fahmida?
It's Fahmida.
Dang it.
Don't worry about the pronunciation as much. My name is in Arabic, but I'm Bengali, and no one in my family actually speaks Arabic, so they pronounce it wrong. And then when I go get an Uber and there's an Arab guy as my driver, he'll pronounce it the correct way, or he'll correct my pronunciation of it. Which, is a vibe. Also, I went to American school, so they called me a different pronunciation. I go by Fahmida. That's what I'm used to.
Okay.
The correct pronunciation, apparently, of my name is Fahmida, which I don't like as much. I'm not used to it. I'm just going to go with the one that's been working so far.
All right. Well, Fahmida, we're sort of in the same boat from different parts of the world, because I don't pronounce my name correctly. It's not Giuseppe. It's really? Giuseppe. Yeah.
Giuseppe. Yeah.
Giuseppe.
Yeah, it's like that.
Yeah. And my family, my mom says Pino. Pino is like small Giuseppe. Pino, which is how you pronounce it. But anyone else in my family and my dad says, Pino too, but anyone else in my family who says Giuseppe or Pino, they say Giuseppe and not Giuseppe. So I pronounce my own name incorrectly every single day.
This is what we have chosen, and this is our canon now. And
our canon.
The rest 100%. Of the world, the Arabs, the Italians, they're just going to have to live with it.
They're going to have to deal.
This is our American way.
So you have, Fahmida, earned quite a few awards and honors in recent years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
One of them is something called a Pulitzer. I need to look that up later.
Yes. Yeah. My little side quest of a Pulitzer, yeah.
But in all seriousness, you got it for the illustrations that accompanied. Here's some more pronunciation. Is it Zumrat Duat?
Yes, Zumrat Duat.
Oh, close. Her very heartbreaking story of how she escaped a Chinese internment camp. We're going to talk a little bit about illustrating serious subject matter later, but What does winning an award like a Pulitzer change, or does it change how you see your illustrations or how you see your work?
You know, it was a shock. The category I won for didn't exist before I won it.
Really?
Yeah, illustrative reporting wasn't a thing.
Okay.
When they submitted my comic, I'm like, this isn't editorial cartooning. We're not going to win. Like, this isn't like the one-shot political commentary that editorial cartooning is kind of like based on.
Right.
It's weird that you would submit this for that category, considering this is long-form reporting in comic form.
Right.
I wasn't even gonna like watch the Pulitzer ceremony. I just thought I was happy to be included. I'm like, it's neat that I got submitted and nominated. That's cool. My partner convinced me to actually watch the thing, the announcements, like an hour beforehand. And when I won, I was just shocked. That was the first year illustrative reporting replaced editorial cartooning. And that was to make room for more serious, I don't want to say more serious. It's more like to have a wider breadth for the category, for what it can be.
Exactly. Did Business Insider, who submitted it to the Pulitzer?
Oh, Business Insider.
Business Insider did.
Listen, I am not used to like establishment, like anyone in the establishment approving of what I do, recognition and things. I hadn't actually won anything by that point.
I mean,
I did the job because I was mad at Xi Jinping.
That's a pretty good reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was published in December of 2021. Zumrat's experience with it was obviously years prior to that. And as I was reading it, there were definitely moments in there that mimicked what's going on in this country.
Yeah. Yeah. Authoritarianism is not original.
Yeah. It's all the rage these days. Did you know, you probably do, that you are the second Bangladeshi to win a Pulitzer?
Yeah, and the first Bangladeshi woman, I believe.
Definitely that.
I was told like the first one was a photographer.
Mohammed Punir Hossain?
Sounds about right.
Is my pronunciation like relatively close there?
I don't know, dude. I don't know him. I don't know if he pronounces it differently like I do.
Yeah. I have a thing with pronunciations. I guess growing up with Italian immigrants, and I do not know where to put the emphasis in anyone's names. Case in point.
It's okay. Me neither.
I guess Fahmida sounds more Italian than Fahmida, so I guess that's where I was coming from with that. You know what I mean?
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. You were talking about receiving validation or recognition from the establishment. Validation is a word that comes up quite a bit in the illustration community. You know, we seek validation in different ways from different places. Awards do validate, obviously, encouragement and support from loved ones and friends, family. If we're lucky to get it, and not all of us are, is validating. I think it's fair to say that making money through our creative endeavors is pretty validating.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
How important is that word to you? Or is it important?
Validation is important, but I think I have spent so long doing this for myself that once I got validation, I didn't quite know what to do with it.
Interesting.
Like, my family didn't really want me to be an illustrator. Going through the hoops of, like, trying to get my education and then get gigs, it wasn't a very validating experience. There's so many obstacles in the way.
Right.
It's like sheer, like, single-minded willpower in many ways.
Yeah.
For instance, my dad didn't tell me that I did a good job until my second New York Times illustration.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Sure.
But by the time he actually said it, I had gone so long doing this for myself and for the love of it that it just kind of, I was struck by how much it felt like one of the many compliments I get anyway.
Right.
From so many other people.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't need it.
Right.
And then when I got validation from awards and the establishment, it kind of just like short-circuited my brain. I was like, what? Like every 2 seconds after I got the Pulitzer, I'd be like, what? What is happening?
My daughter's
How did
crash
this
out.
happen?
Yeah, you're crashing out.
It's just like an out-of-body experience every few minutes. Of course, like every 2 seconds became 10 seconds, became like minutes, became like hours, became weeks, until it was just a fact of my life.
Yeah. And now you're talking about it on some random dude's podcast.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the most validating experience, I can't think of a more validating experience than being at the Pulitzers and getting like a standing ovation from the New York Times table and like having one of the board members of the Pulitzer Awards come up to me and shake my hand.
That's amazing. I'm so glad you had that experience.
Thank you. Yeah. I also got to meet Zumrat, and my illustration was like the background of her phone, like her phone screen.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right? She didn't speak any English, but I was so happy to like see that I made her feel understood.
Yep.
I was like at a dinner with people from Business Insider, and she was going to come and have dinner with us, and we saw her walking outside on the street coming into the restaurant, and a bunch of people at the table were like, oh my god, that's her, we've never seen her before.
Right.
But they recognized her from my art. I feel like illustration and comics, when it comes to telling stories like that, have this kind of like superpower of having like a sort of anonymity that you can give the person going through it, while also having empathy and showing what they went through at the same time.
I mean, no offense to photographers, but there's something that you can do that they just can't do. You can enhance how it actually felt. You know, there are things you can do through illustration to dig into, this is how it felt, this is how it looked, I'm creating a visual metaphor for this experience that you're just not quite able to do with photography. No offense, photographers.
Well, with photographers, you also actually have to be there to show them things.
Good point.
Whereas with this comic experience, there's no video footage of Uyghur internment camps.
Right.
But there are eyewitness testimonies. So I could hear her interview, her testimony. I could ask questions. She told me it was like a renovated school that they turned into the facilities for the camp. Right. So I could look up what the schools in China look like, and then I can juxtapose like things she said were there or the ways they changed the school, and then I could show it to her and be like, was it like this? And then now I can show the world what it might have looked like or what it must look like.
Exactly.
There was also one panel where she was in this like torture chair called the tiger chair.
Yeah, with the straps on the desk.
Yeah. There wasn't like finding a reference photo for that was a nightmare. I had to be a detective. I had to try and find what it looked like, how a person sits in it. Yeah. But there was so little to go on from, where I am, but I found a blueprint. So I recreated what the chair looked like and what a person sitting in it looks like using a blueprint.
Right.
Which a photographer can't do.
Plus, like, your style, the way you painted it and drew it, allowed you room to sort of interpret what it could look like, but you weren't going obviously realistic or representational even. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of like quick brush strokes and limited color palettes, so you didn't have to worry, or not even worry, but like think too hard about like, well, what exact color was it again, and what texture was it, and what was it made out of? You can leave enough room for us to interpret it however we want to interpret.
I got the feeling through. I think my primary objective when telling these kinds of stories is to make sure that the person's perspective and how they felt going through these things, it comes through very clearly.
Yeah. Enhancing it without making anything up.
Yeah. And the things that I do make up is to enhance what they were going through.
Right. Like you didn't have, this isn't part of the comic. But if, let's say, it said something like, it felt like I was bit by 1,000 snakes. You could illustrate 1,000 snakes. Literally, that's not what actually happened, but that's what we're trying to get at here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Why did you choose to be an illustrator?
In many points of my life, it didn't quite feel like a choice, actually.
Really?
I remember when I was about like 7 years old. It was like my first year having immigrated to America. Everything was so new. Mother's Day had come up, and apparently you give your mom gifts on Mother's Day. And I wanted to make my mom a card with her favorite flower, which was a rose on it. So I tried to draw it. I discovered very quickly it just kept not looking like a rose, even though I thought I knew what a rose was. I even got like a fake rose that was around the house to like look at and draw from, because I was just, my mind was blown. I was looking at it and I was drawing it so carefully. Every time I was done, for 1 second, I thought it looked just right. And then I would look again and it was just wrong. It's just, this doesn't look anything like a rose. Like, what am I doing?
Fahmida, I know professional illustrators in their 40s and 50s who think the same exact thing about their work. So you're good. You're ahead of the curve.
Yeah. Me as a 7-year-old, I was having an existential crisis. I'm like, do I not know what a rose is? I'm looking at it.
Oh my gosh. My daughter has the same reactions to her drawings. She's 15 now. Over the last couple of years, she's starting to get more and more into drawing, which as art dad, I'm like, oh my God, yes, please. But she'll draw something that I will objectively now, and now I'm her dad now and stuff, but objectively I'll look at it and go, gosh, that's so well done. Nice job. It is the thing you wanted it to be. And of course her response is always, no, it's not. It looks terrible. It doesn't look anything like that.
Well,
it could just be a kid thing. I don't know.
Yeah, it's also like a double-edged sword in that it propels a person to keep making or getting better.
Right.
It could stop a person from getting better if they can't like face their ego of maybe they have no idea what things look like. But for me, I just kept trying to draw stuff, thinking like, surely I know what reality looks like. Fast forward many years, I'm like an angsty teenager, and there's a lot of things to be angsty about, but drawing and art class, I felt the most freedom there.
Me too.
The most like control.
Totally.
Of course, my family always wanted me to be a doctor. Almost in a pathological sense, they wanted me to be a doctor.
Architect, engineer and architect for me.
Yep. There's only 3 jobs. There's doctor, engineer, or lawyer.
Or lawyer, exactly.
Yeah, you could have any job of the 3 jobs. Yeah.
Plenty of choices.
I didn't know illustration was really an option. Okay, so this part is a little dark. If you would like to go there.
I've gone dark in this podcast plenty of times on the mental health side of things, so...
Fair. Well, I have had major depressive disorder since, I think, at least 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was a teenager and I was choosing, like, what direction to take my life in, or at least that's what it feels like when you're a teenager and you're going through high school, I knew that if I went down the path of med school and becoming a doctor, my will to live would go down.
Mm-hmm.
But if I took this thing that made me feel free and I bet on myself, my will to live would increase. I would have motivation to keep going. But I also, didn't want to die destitute, because that's what they say about artists.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to disappoint my parents. So it was really with a heavy heart that I chose to live. And I went down this road thinking it doesn't actually feel like I have a choice, but this is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
No one tells you this. I feel like every Disney Channel original movie makes it seem like your parents will come around if you're just passionate enough. No, you can just fill out the paperwork yourself.
Right.
Like I filled out the financial aid stuff. I chose an in-state art school that was reputable. I got myself there.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until a month into art school that I told my parents I was doing illustration.
Yeah.
Not even illustration. I actually told them I was doing graphic design so that I could tell them it was something with computers.
It was a difficult choice to make, and I'm glad you made it.
Thank you. So am I.
It's so funny how these things work. I don't plan this stuff. I really don't. Some people may believe me. Some people may not. I don't know. But this will now be back-to-back-to-back episodes in which depression with a capital D,
mm-hmm.
anxiety, suicidal
mm-hmm.
ideation, these things have come up in 3 episodes in a row. Not because I willed it or even asked about it, just sort of touched on some things that illustrators have to deal with. And that's just how it goes. And it's just interesting how this kind of thing works.
Well, do you want some good news?
I love good news.
As of last week, my therapist says I no longer meet the criteria for major depressive disorder. I am in remission.
I don't know if you can hear that, but I'm giving you little quiet snaps. I mean,
Yay.
I could shout and clap, but then I'll just blow everybody's ears out. So I'm just going to...
Yeah, this condition I've had since I was like 9 years old. I'm in remission. It's great.
Fahmida, that's incredibly good news.
Thank you. Yes.
Congratulations.
I'm very happy about it.
I've talked about this on the podcast, and it's broken record time, folks. But I'm going to keep talking about it because it's my podcast. I can talk about whatever I want. I had a severe depressive episode for not since I was 9, but for 2 years. Got close. Very close, like scary close. But didn't get there. It's been this companion ever since. And I also went to therapy. She didn't sort of declare I was healed or anything, but toward the end we both agreed, like it was feeling better, it was looking better. It's now been 7 years. It's close to 8 as of this recording. I still kind of see it a little bit as a companion of sorts, an unwanted companion, but it's there still. Not in any scary sense, but this tiny, tiny little remnant of it kind of exists in the back of my head. And every now and then, it'll poke me. Very randomly and very rarely, but it's still there. It isn't, it's not 100% gone. It's 99.2% gone.
Well, I think it's hard to say that anyone ever is cured.
Yeah, I don't think
from depression.
I
don't think that's how it goes, which is why I like the word remission.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it could come back. I don't know.
Sure.
But as of right now, I don't meet the criteria. I mean, I still have...
Happy for you.
I still have CPTSD, but at least it's just that and not also MDD.
I know what PTSD is. I don't know if I know what did you say? CPTSD?
CPTSD.
What's the C stand for?
It stands for complex PTSD.
Okay.
PTSD is not simple. It is complicated.
I was going to say, it's pretty complex already, yeah.
Yeah. PTSD is when there's one event or isolated event that the PTSD is contained in. CPTSD is when it's multiple events or a prolonged event that gives you PTSD. So I had the unfortunate circumstance and very common circumstance of having an angry father. That was for a very prolonged time in my life.
Right.
So that's where the CPTSD comes from, and that it's really weird because it was so prolonged. It's hard to know a nervous system that hasn't known that.
Oh,
so
true.
What I thought was normal wasn't actually all that normal. I say normal, but like,
yeah,
I was like on edge, or like I had hypervigilance even when I thought I was relaxed. It was just like hard to do that.
Right.
And I was like that for most of my life. And so when doctors would ask me questions about like, well, is your anxiety been different in the last 2 weeks or so? I'd be like, I've been normal. But if your normal is just being anxious, what does that mean?
Good question. A question I ask myself often. I'm an anxious person, and I've always been, but it was so low key until my depressive episode. And now I'm like, I don't know if I've ever felt truly relaxed. And I've talked about this too on the podcast from time to time over the years. I'm a catastrophizer. Mm-hmm. Anytime I anticipate anything, it's never the outcome in my head is never, the assumption is something's going to go wrong. It's not going to work. Mm-hmm. And the lesson that I always apparently have to relearn time and time again is it often works. It's often fine. Most of the time. Yeah.
I have a book that I'm working on right now that I am writing for the first time.
Nice.
It's a picture book that is called Nothing Bad Has Happened Yet. It's about bug people. You know how mermaids are fish people?
Yeah. This
is about bug people.
Okay. Sign me up.
So like fairies. And it follows a caterpillar person with anxiety and their friend who's a June bug who's like trying to get them out of their head as they're going about their day. And we get to see what it's like feeling small in a bird-eat-worm world.
You already wrote the back cover copy. That's your marketing copy right there.
Oh, yeah. Done. Thank you. Yeah. I got the idea from the saying, the early bird gets the worm. I've always felt like the worm in that statement.
Yeah.
So I wrote a book about the worm, and it's become like this thing about sort of broaching mental health early for kids, like getting them through like the breathing exercises and like the catastrophizing and how to ground yourself in it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, therapy session's over. I'll checks in the mail, Fahmida. This podcast is produced by the Illustration Department, a global leader in online education for illustrators. Visit illustrationdept.com for offerings like mentorships and portfolio reviews, testimonials, our alumni showcase, our best-selling Substack, and more. That's illustrationdept.com. And now, back to our conversation.
I like talking about mental health because it's been such a big part of my life. And also, for whatever reason, our industry as artists tends to deal with a lot of mental health topics. We're not known for being happy people.
But we want so badly to be happy. And many of us are. Mm-hmm. Even those of us who, wake up in the morning and first thought in our head is not a good one. Like, oh, God, got to deal with that today. But we really badly want to do it. We work hard at being happy.
I think
some of us more successful than others.
I like to often think about the way we feel things intensely as part of our superpower. I think that's one of the reasons we're able to communicate feelings really well, is because we've been steeped in it.
Yep.
I think one of the reasons I'm able to get really dark, hard stories to get people to understand what it feels like is because my brain has been there before.
Yeah. There's a word for that. What is that word? When you can put yourself in someone else's shoes and feel what they're feeling. And
empathy. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That's a good word.
Yeah.
You should write that down and tell somebody about it.
It's empathy. It's like my brain is able to grasp just like how disorientation or like loneliness or despair might feel like, because I haven't been in her circumstances for sure. What she went through was awful and hard.
Oh, my God.
But I can
Nightmare.
Extrapolate that catastrophizing brain of yours. I bet that would be great for some dark storytelling.
Oh gosh. Actually, in all seriousness, it has made me a better teacher. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful because I'm able to talk to illustrators who do deal with the kinds of stuff that you and I are talking about today. In addition to everything else that we're carrying, now we got to worry about like, how do I draw a puppy in a cute way? Like these are things that disconnect sometimes can be really heavy to shift from like, I'm feeling it right now. You and I are talking about this thing and I'm wondering, how can I shift this back to illustration in a way that's more like, tell me, what's your favorite pencil? Like we could talk about that. Other podcasts will talk about that. You and I can talk about mental health because it's important. Many of us are feeling the things that you and I are discussing. So it's okay. Speaking of that, there's a couple things that I noticed when I was researching you. One was that your Twitter name, not your handle, your name is Fahmida versus the creative process. I also noticed that you haven't tweeted in a couple of years. You also haven't posted on Instagram. I think I counted 3 posts since 2023 on Instagram.
Yeah.
I guess social media for you is out, or are you elsewhere?
Oh, yeah. I kind of quiet quit the internet like a couple years ago.
Congratulations. More snaps for you.
I was just overwhelmed and I decided, if the robot's scraping me, if Elon Musk ruining Twitter and the rampant resurgence of Islamophobia aren't enough to make me quit, I don't know what is. This is my one chance to get out of Twitter.
Yeah. And they wouldn't let you change your handle for some reason. You're like, that's it. That's the final straw.
Oh, no, that was just me not even thinking about it. That was what my handle was for a long time.
That's
funny. I think the creative process is it's a struggle. It's a process, and I know my process, and I know how to get through the art blocks and things, and you figure these things out as you've been doing your job a while.
Right.
I was going through burnout, so I tried to fix burnout with my techniques for getting through art block, and that wasn't working, and I was super frustrated. I'm like, this feels antagonistic.
Why are you doing this to yourself?
Yeah. Why am I, like, nothing really was working, and getting through burnout was a whole other process to learn.
That's another recurring theme of the podcast over the past couple of months. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it happens. Like, no one actually teaches you how to get through burnout.
No, they don't. I mean, how long do you have today? I mean, we could talk for 4 or 5 hours about burnout. What's the definition of burnout? All these things.
Or when to know you're burning out.
Right.
That was the whole thing. Even figuring out that it was burnout and not art block.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you know what helps me with burnout?
What?
Routine. I'm very boring with my routine. I wake up exactly the same time every morning. I get my coffee the exact same way. Every step is basically the same every single morning.
Nice.
Come down, put my slippers on, get my coffee. I sit down at my desk. I put on my headphones. I listen to basically the same music, the same genre of music.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just start writing, and I don't think about the burnout. I just write.
I think that's wonderful. And that's sustainable.
Yeah.
For me, this realization that I had is that the energy and mindset that got me to where I am is not what's going to keep me there.
Huh.
Like,
okay.
I've only been in this illustration game for like 9 years now. It's going to be 10 years next year.
You just started.
Yeah, basically.
It's a long time. Come on.
But the mentality that got my foot in the door is things like saying yes to everything, or like making my life revolve around just work.
Right.
Being determined about it. Always having multiple projects and just always putting stuff out.
Right.
And that's what got my foot in the door. But then once I was in the door, when I kept doing that, that's what led to burnout.
Mm-hmm.
I had to switch to a more sustainable, like, fuel for my process, which was going back to, like, what brought me joy, saying no more often, and having the faith that it's going to be okay.
Yeah, that's scary, but good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And slowly but surely, I think I'm still building a fuller process, but I have my energy back. I show up more consistently to my work because I've allowed myself the grace to be flawed within it.
Well said. So would you say you have a fairly healthy relationship with your illustration, with your work?
I'm still getting there, but it's healthier than it used to be. I think I've successfully extracted my self-worth from my output.
Oh, who said that? Someone else said that in a recent episode. It's not going to come to mind quick enough, but someone else had said that they do not or no longer associate their self-worth with their illustration, which is hard to do. I used to really associate my self-worth. Self-worth. Why does that sound right? Self-worth. With what I did, not who I was. Mm-hmm. For many years, I really connected my self-worth with, say that 5 times fast, self-worth with being an art director at a major publishing company. Now, as I get older and I no longer do that, I do this now. What this is, running the illustration department, my podcast, Substack, it takes a backstage to like who I am. And it took me a couple of years to like really reconnect with that. I guess therapy hour is not over. I guess we're back in therapy hour. Second hour. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It was tough.
Yes, that makes sense.
Still trying to figure it out a little bit, but getting there.
Well, I think it was useful to us, wasn't it, when we attached ourselves so closely to our work? What's more motivating, right, to get you where you want to be? But then you have to extract yourself from that. You have to step back and you have to see yourself more fully once you are there.
Yeah, totally.
And I'm proud of us for making it at least this far.
Yeah, don't be proud of me. Be proud of yourself. You did a hell of a lot more work than I could ever do or would ever need to do.
It's been a winding process. I'm
sure.
Constantly amazed. I'm still in it.
Yeah. I mean, my father, he wasn't angry. He was almost emotionless. It was hard to get anything other than anger out of him. He was never violent or anything because his dad was incredibly violent, physically violent to him. So he vowed not to do that with us. It was a good move. But he kind of went the other way, I think, because of his upbringing. He just kind of went emotionless with us. It was all about our accomplishments. That's what he would talk to us about. What did you do today? What did you accomplish? What grades are you getting? Comparing us to other kids who are getting better grades. And it bothered me for a while, but now I recognize him for who he is. I love him for who he is, and I forgive him for who he's not. And the only time my dad has ever been, pat on the back, attaboy, kind of thing is when I tell him how successful the illustration department is.
It's sad that he can't see the bigger picture.
I think that's a common experience with a lot of illustrators, though. You said it yourself. That second New York Times illustration was like, all right, nice one.
Yeah.
I talk to illustrators all the time, Fahmida, who don't get that at all from their partners.
Oh, wow.
Or their partners are like, are you done with this illustration thing that you're trying to do?
This is a misunderstood field. A lot of folks just don't know what we do. I've met people who didn't know that comics could be anything but superheroes.
Yeah.
And I had to explain to them, no, that's like saying there's no genres in writing.
Right. Well said.
I like to explain illustration to folks as kind of akin to writing. It's a medium.
Yep.
I think of fine arts as poetry. I think of illustration as prose. I think of copywriting and as graphic design because it has to be punchy and have a lot of meaning and very short sentences, you could say.
Right.
I think that helps them wrap their minds around the visual medium is a language. And we could say infinite things with it.
True. That's a good point. That's a good way of explaining it to somebody. So I hope people listening are taking notes because that's a great way of explaining it. I'm writing something now for Substack about the infantilization of the children's book creator and how, among other ways that illustrators are infantilized, when you say to somebody you're a children's book, especially children's book illustrator, but just illustrator, often the reaction is, "Oh my gosh, oh man, good for you. That must be
cute.
So cozy.
That's so idyllic and cute.
You're so lucky. I have to actually go to work. You don't." And you're like, dude, you couldn't handle one day of what I do. Sure, go ahead and go to your job. Anyway, so there's that too.
If it makes you feel any better, there was once a party I was at where I was approached by a pediatric surgeon.
Okay.
And when she found out I was a children's book illustrator, she was fawning over me. She was kind of starstruck because she said, I can remove the tumors from their bodies, but I can't make them feel safe like you can.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Good for that person to tell you that.
That's what we do, right?
Yeah. We illustrators, no matter what kind of illustrator you are, it doesn't even, I mean, you could be illustrating freaking pineapples for bedding for a kid. Those pineapples for that kid, they're going to love those illustrations. Mm-hmm. It's part of their bedding. It's part of their bedroom. It's this safe space for them. And your illustrations are part of that safe space for them. And that's home decor. That's surface design. Mm-hmm. Children's books, obviously. Even editorial illustrations, when pieces like the ones that you've illustrated over the years, there is something that needs to be communicated, and your illustrations help people understand that more easily, especially when it's a serious subject matter, which I told you earlier we were going to talk more about it, but we didn't really touch on it that much. And honestly, I'm going to go ahead and say that's okay. I think we've touched on enough serious stuff for one day. So yeah, you're right. Society, which has problems understanding a lot of things, that's what we do for society. We educate, we entertain, we warn, we help make people feel like they exist. I
was at an author's retreat many, many years ago with other children's books writers and illustrators and things. And one of the things I remember us talking about was our real jobs is making lifeboats for people, particularly children, because it's hard out there. They have no power, and all of us were children at some point. But we create little worlds. We become a voice in their heads that gives them a different way of being, of thinking about themselves and the world. And that can be life-saving for people.
And you know what's interesting is we're talking about this, and you and I are obviously in agreement. I would say 99.9% of people listening are in agreement. But there are folks who, if you say that to them, they're going to be like, oh, come on. It's a little self-aggrandizing, isn't it? To which I would then respond with, I don't know what self-aggrandizing means, and no, even if I did.
I would ask those people to think about the stories that made them feel seen.
Right.
Because I feel like most of us have had that experience. And if they've never found a story that's made them feel seen, well, that feels like a need that could be fulfilled out there. Like, let's find you a story that makes you feel seen.
You're familiar with the book Ferdinand, illustrated by Robert Lawson. Mm-hmm. He's got this great quote that ties into what you and I are talking about right now. It goes, children do not know that they ought to admire certain art because it is, quote, naive or, quote, spontaneous. To give them anything less than frankness, honesty, and sincerity is the lowest crime.
Yeah.
I think it's true. And by the way, this includes fart jokes too.
Yeah. We want the whole breadth of human experience and nothing less.
Right. It's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Speaking of spectrums, what's your favorite color? No, I'm kidding. For folks listening, illustrators listening, anyone who is relating to what we've been talking about today, or really any illustrator out there who's listening to this, what piece of advice or word of wisdom or bit of insight would you like to share with them directly, from you to them?
The piece you're looking for is in accepting who you are. You already know what you want to do. And once you accept that, it's just a matter of doing it.
To learn more about Fahmida, visit fahmidaazim.com. If you find value in this podcast, you can support it by subscribing to my best-selling Substack. For $5 a month or $50 a year, you will access hundreds of articles on the art, practice, and history of illustration, unlock bonus podcast episodes called Extra Credit, and connect with other members of the ID community. Join me on Substack by visiting illustrationdept.substack.com. Thank you so much for listening. Until next time.